So welcome back everybody to Our Womanity. I am so pleased today to have Sundae Bean on the call. So she has been a very long-standing life coach, career coach, and honestly has become my go-to person. And I feel like you're my friend, even though we've never met in
Yes.
person. But you are my friend too.
Yes,
You have my best
exactly.
interests at heart.
Yeah.
And Sunday has helped me through these huge times of transformation and transition, moving from a medical trainee to a boss and trying to
Mhm.
figure out what I want out of my life and out of my career. And she's the person I think about through all of these big life transitions. And what is bigger than perimenopause, right?
Mhm.
Huge perimenopausal
Mhm.
transition. And Sunday has
Mhm.
also helped me figure out where I want my voice to be through the perimenopause and menopause space too,
Mhm.
because it's another passion of mine. So
Mhm.
anyway, welcome, Sunday. I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy to have you here. I mean, you're the reason, you're the inspiration for even starting this
Mm.
podcast. So to have you on as a guest is amazing. Thank
It's
you.
so exciting. Thank you. I'm just so honored to be part of your journey. And
Thank you.
I don't even think friend does the word justice because
Aw,
what we've just done life together, to
good
watch
way to put
you
it.
show up and accomplish amazing things and achieve things that you only dreamed of earlier. So it's really,
Thank
I'm
you.
honored. I'm
Thank
honored.
you. Thank you. I so
Hmm.
appreciate that. This is one of our mutual favorite
Hmm.
topics is
Hmm.
perimenopause. And I
Yeah.
think you have taught me so much through transition. And I feel like, doing this series on perimenopause from head to
Hmm.
toe and just makes sense to have you from a coaching perspective, think
Hmm.
through how does perimenopause show up at this time as transition, whether it's
Hmm.
work, whether it's your family,
Yep.
where we need coaching. I think there's
Hmm.
multiple places. So I guess
Yeah.
my first question for you is, perimenopause is a biological transition, and that biology is not personal. It hits everybody.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I
Um,
thought it was gonna skip me, but it
you
did
were
it.
hoping it would skip you.
Yes.
But can you unpack for us, like, what does that
Hmm.
mean for someone experiencing symptoms and feeling
Hmm.
frustrated?
We've spoken before that I learned about the heavy impact of perimenopause on women while they were already going through
Yeah.
other important transitions. And so my work, I call it ATT, it's an ambitious transformation transition. And we look at it either you have an internally led transformation or transition. That means something inside of you is
Hmm.
changing and you
Hmm.
feel like, your shell is too tight and you need to break out, right?
Yeah.
There can be an externally led transition, like perimenopause, that happens to you. And you could have a performance led transition. So
Interesting.
you have big goals, right?
Right.
You have, let's say you want to have a promotion and perimenopause is happening and your relationship doesn't feel like it fits anymore, right? So
Hmm.
all three of
Hmm.
those things can be happening at the same
Right.
time,
Right.
right? Any one of those things
Yeah.
is really intense. And what I find through perimenopause is it's kind of a dangerous thing because one, it's biological and not
Right.
personal. So
Right.
you feel things
Yeah.
that are not matching reality. And
Mm.
from my own experience.
Yeah.
So I had great medical support for my own journey from 40 onward. And now I'm 48. And I was really well supported. And then when I transitioned from South Africa to Switzerland, there was a break in support. But that means there was also a break in kind of the hormonal support I had.
Oh,
And so you
interesting.
can
Okay.
imagine there
Yeah.
was, this about the
Yeah.
science, and I'm sure
Hmm.
you've talked about in other podcasts, but what's going on in your brain and the neurological
Yeah.
changes.
Right.
Well, now there's been something biochemical that has shifted and I'm
Yeah.
no longer supported. And so that would mean I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would have like just monkey mind. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
worried about like a big presentation next day. It would just
Yeah.
like dugga, 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 almost like
Yeah.
anxiety, but I knew it wasn't real anxiety.
Oh, how did you know? How did you know that?
That's a good question. And thank God I knew it wasn't real anxiety. And this is what I
Yeah.
want to say to the listeners is
Yeah.
you have to distinguish what is real and what is just biochemical. For example, what I did is because I had insomnia, also
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
symptom, right?
Yep.
I would take notes on my phone
Hmm.
about the things that I would be thinking about and I would send them to myself. And
Yeah.
having captured them on my phone, it made the monkey mind quiet a little bit and I would go
Wow.
back to
Yeah.
sleep.
Yep.
I would look at my notes in the morning and I would just laugh. They were just monkey mind. They were real things
That's
like,
so
oh,
interesting.
bring the second presentation copy. It was nothing relevant, right?
Yeah.
So I
So
realized,
like
hey, this is
not real stress. Like
not real stress.
yeah.
Yes. So that was one thing.
Yeah.
The other thing with insomnia, I had to
Yeah.
look at, am I not sleeping? because
Hmm.
I have a challenging job? Or
Hmm.
am I not sleeping because my body isn't sleeping?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Third
Wow, that's so
example
interesting.
is,
Okay.
for example, I had things in people that I was in relationship with that
Yeah.
would really trigger me. I mean, really trigger me. And I had to go in and go, is this truly about the person and the relationship? Or is this a biological reaction?
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay, that's fascinating. And thinking back to the sleep thing, I'm not a
Yep.
neurologist and I'd love to interview a neurologist about
Hmm.
perimenopause, but I think for sleep, what I've heard and have read is that our brain is filtering out the day and
Hmm.
processing what is important, what needs to stick into your mind, and what needs to be let go.
Yes.
But if you're having insomnia and you're thinking
Hmm.
about all those
Hmm.
things,
Hmm.
like maybe you're actually not deciphering what needs to
Hmm.
be let go
Yep.
and you're just holding on to everything.
Yep. Plus the anxiety, right? One of my friends calls them the night scaries.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, that's a thing. A lot of people have it." So what I really think is important, because it's a biological transition, you could easily
Oh,
make it
yeah.
about you.
And get swept away.
And you're
Yeah.
like, my relationship isn't good enough.
Mhm.
Well, it's because I'm not managing my workload well enough. I'm not doing this. And now all
Yeah.
the blame comes to you. And so this is really important when I work
Yeah.
with my clients to understand what is biochemical and what is real.
Right. I mean,
And
one of my favorite
yeah.
phrases that you've taught me is like, what story am I telling myself? And what am I making this mean?
Mhm,
Right. Right.
exactly. But the problem is the feelings are real. The experience is real,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But I would always have to check it, and with my clients as well, check it against reality. So I call that reality check and blood check,
That's awesome.
right?
Yeah.
Test what's going on in your reality, test
Yeah.
what's going on in your blood, and then you could do a cross check if you're not sure. So ask a friend, hey, this happened.
Yeah.
And this is how I responded. What do you think?
Yeah.
And that will help you kind of calibrate what's going on.
Oh, that's so good. So there's a lot of discomfort. There's a lot of
Hmm.
disorientation and frustration that I see women experience through
Yep.
perimenopause. How can they take this time and actually use it as an opportunity for,
Yeah.
is that possible?
I Hey, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I mean,
Yeah.
depending on your symptoms and what's going on, it could really be hard. So I don't want to sugarcoat it, but
Yeah.
opportunity for growth. Like I had this example, and I don't want to share my client's example, so I'll share my
Sure.
own examples. I had an example where I needed blood tests again because it had been a while and I could tell things were shifting.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really hard for me to get an appointment.
Mm,
And I ended up calling the receptionist and I said, listen, it's this many months. I need these blood tests. This is what we're looking at. And I got the appointment. And when the doctor called me with the results, she said, who ordered this blood test? And I said, I did.
uh-huh.
Like I had to take charge
Yeah.
of my care.
Right.
Nobody was
Right.
doing it. Nobody cared more than I did.
Right.
And so I had to be more assertive. I could have said, this is the system, they work on this time frame. I
Hmm.
had to step up and be more assertive.
Yes.
So that's a growth opportunity,
Absolutely.
right?
It might be the first time that people are ever really doing that, right?
Yeah,
For many
right.
reasons.
The other thing I think the growth opportunity is, so there was a phase where I could tell that like intense exercise
Hmm.
wasn't good for me.
Oh,
So
interesting. Yeah.
instead of overriding what I should do,
Yeah.
right? Like everybody says you should do heavy weights and you should do,
Hmm.
hit training or whatever. I
Yeah.
could feel it in my body. I almost felt as if it would be dangerous if I did
Mm-hmm.
that. And so the growth opportunity is like waking up in the morning and trying to understand, what does my body really need right now? Not what have I
Yeah.
done or what should I do?
Yeah.
Right. And then I made choices like yoga, gentler stuff.
And that was just by trusting yourself.
That's my point.
I
Right.
mean, I
So,
think like
yeah.
that's incredible that you trusted your instinct, you trusted yourself. How
Hmm.
do you help people trust themselves when they
Hmm.
don't? When they're
Yep.
seeing all these things on social media, do this, this, this. I don't want to say
Hmm.
it out loud and call anything
Yeah.
out, but
Right.
there are
Right.
a lot of like, this is what you should do on social
Hmm.
media during perimenopause. How do you help people learn to trust themselves?
I think in small little steps, right? Like with that situation, there's like, I should do this. And it's
Yeah.
probably coming from a fear place,
Right.
or it's coming from like a do it right place, like the perfectionist place.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
nobody's in your body.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know this. And this is one of the things I've
Yeah.
learned from you is you really listen to your patients
Hmm.
and you treat their symptoms.
Right.
And so I had to listen to my body and understand based on how I feel right now, what
Hmm.
would be the kindest thing I can do for my body right now.
Hmm.
Right. And so you have to do a little experiment, with my clients. And my example with yoga was, hey, I have this choice right now. Go, and you might remember this from our work together. Like my body compass, if I thought about going for a run, it gave
Yes.
me like a hard no, like
Yeah.
a really hard no. And when I thought, well, maybe I could do yoga instead, it gave me like this yummy yes.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
And so I was going toward a yes
Yeah.
that was still good for my body.
That's so interesting. And I think, I mean, you have taught me this, like about getting into your body, shutting out the noise,
Mm-hmm.
and like
Mm-hmm.
feeling what is actually what you want, or feeling
Yep.
what feels right or what feels
Yep.
correct. Can you give our listeners like a 30-second
Mm-hmm.
tutorial on how to do that, like how to come
Mm-hmm.
back to your body?
Yeah.
Because I'll just use my own example. Like there are things that like will trigger me because they go completely against my values. And
Mm-hmm.
whether,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how noble those values are,
Right.
it sets me off and I can go, I can go up
Mm-hmm.
to this out of body sort
Mm-hmm.
of moment in my brain, or I'm outside of my brain because of the emotion that it brings to
Yes.
me.
Yes.
And you have taught me, I'm still working on it, but you have
Mm-hmm.
taught me how to recognize when that happens and how to
Mm-hmm.
come back down into
Yep.
myself so that I can be rational and not just be working from emotion. Because like I like keeping my passion, like my passion is something
Yes.
I value. So
Yep.
recognizing those moments when my values are being infringed upon is
Yes.
still important, but how to
Yes.
come back to my body. Can you give my
Yeah. I
listeners
mean,
like just a 30-second tutorial on how to do
right. One really
that?
simple technique that I learned in my coaching training that is simple but can be hard for people is
Yeah.
often, I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure you in the medical field, everybody is like living from their chin up. They're in their
Mhm.
heads, right? We're not
Right.
really physically in our bodies. So, one really small thing is you take 3 breaths
Hmm.
and then you hold your breath on the fourth one until you can feel your heartbeat,
Yeah.
right? So, if people want to do this right now, we just do 3 breaths.
Hmm.
And then hold on the third one. See if you can feel your heartbeat. Tell me when you can feel your heartbeat, Rachel. Don't pass out.
Okay, now.
Now you can, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people struggle with even feeling their heartbeat.
Hmm.
And then that will be their assignment to go and to try it. So, what that does is one, it gets you out of your head into your body.
Yeah.
And I'm sure like a neuroscientist could say how it like stops hijacking your prefrontal cortex and gets your
Right.
blood flowing to more parts of your body. So
Yes.
that really simple breath, it reminds you I have more than my story up here and I'm in my whole body. So it gives you access to more.
Yeah.
And then you can have a much more grounded response.
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
that strategy just for people who want to try it. If you're ever in a stressful situation, like a really important work meeting or an interview, you can
Mhm.
do that and no one will know you're doing it.
Yeah.
And it will
That's
get
true.
you back to you. And then once you're there, then you're more grounded to your core values, to who you are, and you're not triggered.
Right. And
Yep.
then you kind of keep a little bit of the dignity, right? Like the
Yes.
passion is important. I'm not saying
Yep.
don't be passionate,
Yep.
but I think when we operate by our emotions, then
Hmm.
I know for myself, I don't think straight.
Yep. Yep. And I
Like,
think absolutely. I think that's what's really important in perimenopause too, because we will, if you have a symptom where like rage is a
right.
real
Yes.
daily response, right?
Right.
For some people,
Hmm.
if you have that, that is so uncomfortable. And so I have so much empathy when you have that experience. What can you do to like counter the rage or
Yeah.
find balance in the rage?
Yeah.
That's something. And it makes it safer for everybody else
Yes,
in your
exactly.
presence.
And if you have
Um,
a hard time feeling your heartbeat, one thing that I think I do is like I just feel my pulse right here. And you
mhm,
could you
mhm.
could be sitting in a meeting and just
Yep.
feel your pulse, then you feel your heartbeat a little bit
Yep.
more easily.
Absolutely.
But you're right, like we have
Yeah.
to come back to
Hmm.
being grounded.
Yep. And I wanted to loop back to this
Yeah.
story with
Yeah.
yoga, the gentle and the hard, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, back with cross check, blood check, and reality check, after I had made those choices,
Hmm.
I got my blood tested again, and my doctor found out my testosterone was completely tanked.
Hmm.
So of course I didn't have that oomph to go out for a
Yeah.
run. And I don't know, you tell me what would
Yes.
happen
That's
if
testosterone.
someone had no testosterone and forced themselves out of pure will
Yeah.
to go do, I don't know what would happen to your body. I don't think it's good for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if it would be like bad for you, but definitely you won't get as much of a workout if you try.
Hmm.
You're just going
Yep.
to feel, you're it's almost like the negative reinforcement. Maybe you'll
Yes.
try and then you'll feel like shit.
Yeah.
And you'll be
Right.
like, yeah, why did I do that? I should have been doing
Yep.
something else, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
And I just told this group that I spoke to last night about menopause, everybody is walking around with some testosterone except for women after menopause. Like we
Mm.
associate testosterone with men. We think of it as
Hmm.
this like
Hmm.
masculine hormone, but honestly,
Yep.
premenopausal women have testosterone too. And we do have some fluctuations where there are times in our cycle that it spikes. But
Hmm.
in general, we have some testosterone. And after menopause, when our ovaries stop
Mm.
producing it as much, our levels decrease so much. And I think it's a really vital hormone
Yeah.
for that oomph, for
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
just sex drive, even though that's where the research is that we have
Hmm.
historically is on sex drive, but just in drive in
Yep. Yep.
general, right?
Yes, absolutely. One of the things I think people don't realize unless they've gone through this themselves is how your hormone balance will totally impact how you feel, even your decision making, your
Yes.
confidence, right? And
Yes.
if those are off, you don't feel yourself. And I know I've
Yeah.
heard you talk about that with a lot of other women in podcasts is
Mhm.
a reported feeling of I don't feel like myself,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Can
And
you
yeah.
tell us a little bit about, like, for women who are feeling lost or who are
Hmm.
feeling like they're not achieving what they want to be
Hmm.
achieving, they
Hmm.
think perimenopause might be part of it. Like, how would they seek out a coach, and like, how can a coach influence or help them through this transition?
Right. So always the caveat, like you can't coach biology. So make sure
Yeah,
that you have good care and that that person is working to make sure your levels are in a healthy range.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I would also add, just from my own experiences, just because they're within the brackets on the report
Hmm.
doesn't mean you feel good enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Sure,
And
that
that's my
happens.
soapbox. I tell people, I mean, I even rarely check blood work because your
Hmm.
symptoms are more important.
More. Yep.
But if you have someone who's checking your blood work and says, "Oh, you're fine," and you don't feel fine, find
You're like,
somebody
it's not
else.
fine. It's not
Yeah,
fine.
it's not fine.
Right. I would then, after that, when I know that's being taken care of, I would look at where they are. Like,
Yeah.
what's the external transitions that are happening? Are they moving? Are their kids going to college? Are
Right.
their parents aging? So I would do an inventory. And this is one of the first things I do with my clients, that what is going on externally? And for a lot of people, there's multiple major things happening at one time. Maybe their best friend has cancer, their
Mhm.
parents, one of them went into a nursing home. There's war happening out in the world. Like there's a
Right.
lot happening,
Right. There's a
right?
lot.
And then you go to what's the internal transition? Like, are you feeling like something inside of you is hungry for more purpose and meaning? Are you feeling
Mhm.
like you're outgrowing your job? Are you
Mhm.
outgrowing your relationship? What's going on inside?
Yeah.
And then I would look at what are your performance, like what's the performance transition you're in? Like maybe you want that promotion, or maybe you actually want to step back and
Yeah.
work less, right?
Yeah.
And just that first step is like, wow, there's a lot going on,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Because I
Right.
don't think a lot of people realize that.
Right. It just becomes the norm.
Yep. So you have to give yourself some grace and like, wow, no wonder I feel like shit. This
Yeah.
is how many
Yeah.
things I'm navigating, right?
Right. Right.
Yep.
The overwhelm, right? Like,
Totally.
and I hope you don't mind me kind of quoting you, but I know we've talked a lot about, our brains evolved to be in villages
Yes.
and we know what's happening in the village. We care and we
Hmm.
act on what's happening in the village. But now, even just with our phones, like
Hmm.
we find
Yes.
out what's happening in every freaking village across the whole world. And it
Yes.
is very overwhelming. It creates a
Yes.
constant stress response of,
Yes.
what can I do? Oh, I can't do anything. That
Hmm.
helplessness feels
Hmm.
bad for us from
Yeah,
a very
absolutely.
human level.
And a very biological level, right? In my body, it thinks I'm in this tribe of 150 to 200 people,
Yeah.
but I'm watching what's going on the whole group. I feel like I have a responsibility to do something now, right? And
Mhm.
we all have a responsibility globally,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But we can't always make such a direct impact
Yeah.
on everything at all times. And I love
Yeah.
this metaphor that I heard from Glennon Doyle, right? From We Can
Hmm.
Do Hard
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah.
She just talked about there's this river of social justice, and there's a lot of boats on there with leaders. It
Hmm.
doesn't matter what boat you're on, just get on a boat
I love
and
that. Just get
help.
on.
Just
Yes.
get on a
Just get on
boat,
one of
right?
them.
So
Yeah.
and so be active on a boat at least and cheer
Yeah.
on the other boats, right? Instead
Yeah.
of having to feel like you have to steer
I
it
love
all.
that. Yeah.
But I think that's one thing they need to kind of honor and recognize where they are and say, hey, this is
Mhm.
hard. One thing I have to say that I work a lot with my clients on, and I have to admit, I sometimes struggle myself, is you have strategies that worked in the past.
Mhm.
And you think, well, these work, so I'm going to bring them forward. But your context changes, the complexity changes, your body changes.
Yeah.
So those strategies don't work anymore.
Yes, that's right.
Right. So with a coach, you can
Mhm.
say, hey, these are strategies that worked in the past. It's not working anymore.
Right.
What else could I do? And another phrase that you'll recognize from me is, are
Mhm.
you bending reality?
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Are
I
you
bend reality all the time. That's like I'm like a professional reality bender.
Are you acting like there's more than 24 hours in a day? Do you
Yes.
pretend like you don't get tired after, 12 hours of working?
Yeah.
Like, where are you bending reality? And then to have a look at, like, what do you do later? What do you do with lower quality? What do you not do at
Mhm.
all? What do you delegate? A coach can really help you kind of take charge of
Yeah.
your life again when everything else feels out of control,
Yeah, I love
right?
that. Yes, and
And
you've done that
yeah.
for me, so I appreciate that. Question about like what can I be doing? What can healthcare providers be doing
hmm
to better support this like dual biological and
hmm
personal
Yeah.
transformation?
I mean, I'm sure you're doing this already based on how I know how you work,
Thanks.
but any other practitioners, just the first question is, how have you been?
Yeah.
What's going on, right? They could share, well, there was a death in the family. You can make sense of the biological impact by hearing their context,
Mm,
listening to their symptoms. And I know this is what good practitioners do. They like, how bad do they feel?
yeah.
Right? Even if you're within the brackets on the hormone, whatever, like what's your experience?
Yeah.
And I would suggest, at least from my own personal experience, if it's possible in your practice,
Hmm.
is can you have a plan where you definitely check in 3 months, right? Because
Mm,
what I've
yeah.
experienced, and it could be different in the US, but in Switzerland, the time till the next appointment is either totally up to you,
Yeah.
like they'll never call you again unless you make the call. And when you
Oh,
do
really?
call, they say it's in 5 months.
Okay.
So, like, can you give that person based on what they need, but every 3 months, a quick check in or
Yeah.
like, hey, our next appointment is here. So then you can watch whatever you gave for treatment,
Hmm.
watch the impact, and then they don't have to wait six
Yes.
months, right?
Yes. Yes.
That would be really something. And I don't know, like from a medical field, I know you're not a therapist. I know you're not a
Mhm.
counselor, you're not a coach, and you shouldn't be. But
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many people that
Hmm.
I have talked to who said, you know what? My doctor just listened.
Oh, yeah.
Because what they literally get, it's terrible stories of face in the computer,
Hmm.
no eye contact with the patient or even back to the patient because their computer's over here,
Yeah.
and no personal connection.
Yeah.
And just if the doctor who is listening right now is male or never gone through perimenopause themselves, you don't know how hard it is. And it's okay.
Right.
You don't have to know.
Right.
But just imagine
Hmm.
this person might be struggling every moment of their day.
Yep.
And so treat them with the care and the humanity,
Yeah.
by saying, like, hey, that sounds hard. Let's see what
Yeah.
we can do to help you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it seems so simple, and yet
Hmm.
so many people are not doing it, right? I guess there is an art to it, and we have
Yep.
come a long way away from the initial, even hands-on physician, like
Yeah.
healing, but sort of like this touch through healing just through an exam and making a person's body feel validated because of
Yes.
what you are finding on examining them.
It's a basic thing to say, but like, please do not dismiss them and say,
Yeah.
like, it's okay to suffer. It's just what you do. Like, do not dismiss them.
Hmm.
And the other thing I would do, depending on where you are medically,
Yeah.
if you don't practice in a way that will support their symptoms,
Hmm.
that's okay. But just say the kind of support you're looking for
Yeah.
is more, let's say, holistic. Here are 5 people you can
Yeah.
call
Yeah.
to get that. So they don't feel left alone.
Lost. Exactly.
Hmm. Hmm.
Exactly. No, that's really helpful. Thanks for that.
Hmm.
Okay, my last question for you, because I could talk to you
Hmm.
all day. What do you wish you knew 10 years ago?
Oh, wow. I'm kind of glad I didn't know.
Yeah. It is like childbirth in some
I
ways,
do.
except it lasts
Yeah.
forever. It
Yeah,
lasts
but you know what?
forever.
Honestly, I have to say this is part of. I did this project called Wisdom Fusion around 2020, where I brought women from 20 to 75 together, multiple generations, and I had them talk to each other because I felt like when I got to my 40s, I started experiencing things nobody had told me about. So, to be
Mhm.
very honest, I wish that I had been surrounded by a group of women who had gone through the hard,
Mm,
come out on the other side, and
yeah.
had some wisdom and could have shared that with me in advance. And that's part of my commitment now. I have really wonderful colleagues who are, pre-menopausal in the sense of
Yeah.
that's not on their radar yet, but I try to also say, hey, this is just so you know, I
Yeah.
had no idea this was coming. It's okay, but here's what I learned how I had to advocate for myself, or here's what my
Right.
clients hurdles they had to overcome so they don't feel blindsided
Yeah.
or they don't feel alone and like something's wrong with them.
Right.
Like that
Yeah.
example of with that low testosterone moment.
Hmm.
If another woman has low testosterone and they lost their oomph, others could say, oh, you're working too hard, you're not working out
Yes, you're
enough,
right. You're
and they're
right. Yeah.
blaming her,
Yes.
not looking at what's the cause,
Yeah.
right? So that's the thing I wish I had known. I wish I would have more quickly looked at what was going on with my body instead of taking such full ownership in terms of it had to come from my agency and strategies, right?
Yes. I mean, Sunday, this is again, like we were talking earlier about my connection between taking care of women with fistulas in rural Africa and comparing it to helping women through perimenopause and menopause. And it's that same thing, like in these remote villages in Africa where they don't know why this woman ended up with a
Mm-hmm.
fistula, they blame her every time.
Yes.
They
Yep.
say, you did something wrong. There was something
Yep.
you must have done to
Mm-hmm.
bring this upon yourself.
Yep.
And it's the same parallel
Mm-hmm.
situation through perimenopause. Like, oh, we don't know the reason,
Mm-hmm.
so it
Mm-hmm.
must be you,
Yep.
right? But
Absolutely.
then if you take
Absolutely.
someone who has had a fistula, had surgery, has gone on with their lives, and if she met that woman at that moment, she'd be like, what the hell? No, go get
Yeah.
get surgery, get yourself fixed and go on with your life, right? Like
Exactly.
if we have these
Yes.
connections with
Mm-hmm.
people and then help us understand what is happening, and if we talk about what's happening to women and
Yes.
don't kind of shroud ourselves in this
Mm-hmm.
silence, in this
Mm-hmm.
like stigma,
Yep.
then we could realize this is physical, this is biological, and it's not your fault.
Right.
And there is
Exactly.
treatment,
Mm-hmm.
and your life is worth high quality.
Yes.
So, like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is not okay to feel like shit.
right,
And there are so many ways. It doesn't mean you have to have hormone replacement
right.
therapy. There's many ways to nurture yourself and your body through this transition.
Mhm.
So find a method that matches your value system, your needs, your lifestyle, because I think too often we accept feeling like crap.
Right. Exactly.
Because you're not sick, you're just going through a transition. And so let's treat our health
Yeah.
in that way.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, well, thank you so much. I'll put all of your information if people want to reach out to you and follow you. You've got great podcasts, website, blogs, like everything. And of course, coaching, which
Yes.
I can personally attest to being
Thank you.
highly valuable. So I'll put your information in our show notes. And thank you so much, Sunday, for your time.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. Have a great day.
You too.